NSMQ review show. This is episode 5. My name is Emmanuel Jiveno, and we are coming to you from the Primetime Studios. Today's program is going to be exciting. It's one we called The Rise of the Giant Slayers. This episode looks at the so-called lesser-known schools beating the so-called creme de la creme schools. We will be looking at their performance at the just-ended regional competition and tell you what you should expect from these schools going into the National Science and Maths Quiz that would happen somewhere in June. Remember that we are 20 days away from the launch of the 2019 edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz, and you can't afford to be left out of this year's edition. It's going to be exciting and it's going to be nerve-wracking. It will be at the University of Ghana. We come to you every Wednesdays and Saturdays, and we are on all the various social media platforms. On YouTube, we are at NSMQ Ghana, same at Facebook, and we are also present on Instagram. Do well to share your message with us, and we'll do as much as possible to read them to the entire world. Remember to add the hashtag NSMQ Ghana, hashtag NSMQ Review Show. To help me with the discussion, at my immediate left is Mr. Stephen Yankee, and he is with Primetime Limited. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you.
And close to him is Samuel Neti Ajo, and he is also with Primetime Limited. Sir, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And finally is a team leader of one of the lesser-known schools we are yet to know of. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I guess this is the first time you are making an appearance on the show.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us which school you are coming from?
I'm coming from Fafraha Community Senior High.
Where is it located?
It's located in Adenta, on Adenta Dodowa Road. Yes, please. That's where it's located.
Okay. I learned of your exploits at this year's regional competition that was organized sometime in March. Can you tell us a bit about it and what wonders you did at this particular competition?
Well, as you rightly said, this year competition is something that we have yearned for. And for the mere fact of watching the people on telly has motivated us a lot to be able to put in our maximum effort to also showcase whatever we have gotten, and knowing where we are coming from. This is a new school, just built in 2016 and commissioned in 11th November 2016 by the former president. And we have to put in all our effort, all our maximum best in order to emerge, if only we will produce anything in this contest. So that has informed the necessary tools we are to deploy, what we have to put in place. And God's also been so good. The headmasters and the headmistress, we have, they all supported us in one way or the other, giving us encouragement. So all this has informed me as a team leader for the training. I try my possible best with the help of my colleagues and put the necessary mechanisms in place. What must we do? When the grouping came out, we saw Accra High in our group. So this Accra High,
I'm sure you were a little bit frightened
in
by
fact,
the name, actually.
The student even alerted me first. Accra High is in our group. Last 2 years, they were part of the seeded schools. So having seen this, they say no. Then we have to put strategies in place. What do we do? What is our game plan? We devoted 2 hours aside classroom work, 2 hours every day for contests and review of some topics continuously in order to make sure they are acquainted with the questions that comes in the National Science and Maths Quiz. Aside that, we make sure we are very disciplined. Without discipline, you can't do anything. So we make sure the time is set, nothing can compromise that time. We adhere to that time, make sure anytime we have the contest, we are all ready seated. What are the technicalities? What are the feelers? What are the things that we have to know? This is the first time we are going. We have never appeared in the contest before. We are just 3 years, not even 3 years yet. So what must we do if we are to beat Accra High? And we also put that in place. we also make sure we watch videos, as
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
rightly said, to get those technicalities. And going to the field, what are the rules of the game? What must we do? What is the game plan? First round, how must we compose ourselves?
And I'm sure that really worked out for you.
In fact.
But, Samuel, let me come to you. I mean, this is a school nobody knows of. In fact, I'm hearing this for the first time. Fafraha Community Day School. I was even thinking it was somewhere up north, not knowing it's in Greater Accra over here. But you have observed the performance of the school.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, I mean, how did it go and how well was this performance?
Well, watching and observing from a distance, I must say that I was quite amazed to hear them having won their contest. And hearing from him, you realize that right from the balloting, they weren't even considering Amasaman, SHS, and Presby's because those names didn't really factor to them. It didn't matter to them because the students
they've
went
also
to him.
been making appearances.
Exactly, but for as far as he was concerned, the students came to him that, hey, we are meeting Accra High, and they were seated 2 years ago. So for as far as they are concerned, their major issue or major problem was Accra High School, and for a school who it's barely 3 years old, and for them being able to put up this kind of performance, and beating a school that has been part of the process, over the years, it's quite amazing, and I think that I doff my hat up for them.
Absolutely. And this even reminds me of Sunrise Senior High School that made their first appearance at the national level and did so well.
Yeah.
And was able to beat Opokuwari School.
Yeah.
I mean, how does this get to you, being it in existence for only 3 years?
Well, I think they did well. I watched the contest. They showed that they have something maybe that we are yet to see.
Absolutely.
For those of us who watched the contest at Achimota School, it was really good to see them perform. Another thing I should mention is that they had a really vibrant support base. The support was massive. And each time they answered, the applause from their supporters was really massive. It's something I'm looking forward to when the national competition starts in June. And I think clearly they meant business from what he said with their preparation. If you look at how the contest went from round one, Accra High was not a match for Fafraha Community. And it shows in how the schools are preparing for their competition. So it just goes to show that it's not about the name of the school or about how many years you've been appearing in the competition. But once you prepare well enough, you can make it your very first time. You can beat some of the schools that have even won. It's possible. If you look at the scores, the 34 points is not bad at all.
Not at all.
And with Accra High scoring 27, it just shows that the contest was keen to some extent. But they were still able to make it. So I'm sure we can look out for them during the national competition, which starts in June.
Other schools that were in the competition were Amasaman SHS as well as Presby SHS. But they are not the only lesser known school that slayed the big schools, the so-called big schools. So in the Eastern region too, St. Roses also went down to Hack Mount Sinai.
Yes.
Yeah, what competition was that and how did they go?
Yeah, so that was a faith contest in the Eastern region. Hack Mount Sinai Senior High School, they won that contest, beating St. Roses Senior High School, Benkum Senior High School, Yilo Krobo, and Presby SHS Begro. And for me, I think this must be the second time or so hearing about this school, Hack Mount Sinai. I was just surprised that St. Roses could not win this contest, or even Benkum Senior High, because, well, maybe even
In
for
fact,
St. Roses.
Krobo too is not a bad school at all.
Yilo Krobo, in terms of the NSMQ, they are not known.
Oh, okay.
But St. Roses have
That's the
appeared on
name.
the program a couple of times, and it's a big school if you are talking about classification of schools.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to Benkum is a big school in the competition.
Very,
They've qualified
very.
a number of times. They have some prominent, maybe if that's the word,
Absolutely.
prominent former contestants who come around every time. So I thought that this contest would have been an easy one for Benkum.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the final score showed that Hack Mount Sinai.
But their neighbors have made it. Nifa SHS have pulled through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was good that they won the contest. Again, it goes to show that it's not about the name of the school, but it's about what you are made of. So if these lesser known schools can also prepare well, just like these other schools, they can also do.
So in the Ashanti region too, the story was somehow similar to Greater Accra and Eastern region. Samuel, you were there as a coordinator. I mean, which schools showed the wonders?
Well, in Ashanti we had Nsutaman SHS and then Twasi SHS. Nsutaman beat Yasantwa, who would also consider an old dog of the National Science and Maths quiz. But then, like we keep saying, at this point, you don't underrate any school. And for those lesser known schools who have seen what others have done, they've taken it as a motivation, therefore, to be able to push themselves up to be able to beat those schools. So it was surprising, but was not surprising, on the other hand, that Nsutaman were able to beat Yasantwa. For whatever reason, Yasantwa might have considered it, it's an easy payday for them, but then they laughed at the wrong side of their mouth. And so Nsutaman showed their potential, beating Yasantwa and beating Open Memorial and then beating Presby SHS Bompata. Tuase has been part of the program for about 2 or 3 years now, but though they made it to the national competition. And so being paired against St. Hubert Seminary SHS and then Ameniampon SHS and Barakesi SHS. I mean, naturally you'd assume that St. Hubert were going to win because they've made
a walkover for
yes,
St. Hubert.
yes. But they were given the rudest shock of their life when Tuase beat them. They beat them, I mean, by 12-point margin.
So if you see the competitions we've reviewed so far, you realize that the margins were very close.
Yes.
I'm talking about the giant slayers.
Yes.
But this one, it was quite huge.
I mean, for 12 what was
34 and
12
22.
12-point margin. So it goes to say what these schools are also coming up. I mean, what they are also coming up with. So if you meet them and you want to underrate them, then it's at all your peril. I mean, in a central region, for instance, Asin State SHS also beat Agri Memorial Zion SHS, who were the seeded school.
Absolutely.
Okay, they were a seeded school during last year's contest, but then they lost, and so they had to go to the regionals. And then when they met Asin SHS, Asin State SHS, Jasi SHS, and Fetiman SHS, naturally you'd want to believe that Agri Memorial were going to be back again.
Yeah.
But then the scales were turned with Asin State SHS beating them squarely. I mean, it was in this contest that something unnatural happened, where you had a student from Agri Memorial moving from the audience to the stage, which is not supposed to be, which is not allowed. But he went in there. It's such that he was in another world. He was just confused as to what was happening to his school. And so,
couldn't understand
yes.
the
So
reason why
when we
should
stopped,
go down.
he went upstage and then spoke to them. He was asked to leave the stage.
To do what?
He was quizzed as to what he was said. He realized so he wanted to motivate his his school for me, because I mean it's beyond his imagination that the school should be losing to Asin State.
College.
I mean, and in Eastern region, Hagmont Sinai and St. Rose's there was a tie. I mean, it was back and forth. I mean, this one takes the lead and this one moves to the second position.
Okay.
So it was back and forth until we got to the fourth one, where they were tied on the same points at 24-24. So we went to a tie break and then Hackman Sinai beat. It was a sight to behold.
Yeah. Stephen, what do you make of this particular competition involving Asin State SHS as well as Agri Memorial?
Yes, so as someone rightly said, when we organized the balloting and I saw some of these contests, naturally you would think that Agri Memorial is coming back to the nationals because you haven't even heard of Asin State SHS before. Just SHS, they've been competing in the Central Regional competition, but they've never qualified. Same for Fetiman. Yeah. So when I saw the final scores, and I was not in Cape Coast, I was then in Upper West, doing the Upper West Regional competition. When I saw the final scores online, I was surprised. That
was it a mistake?
Yes. I'm sure sometimes some of these contests, you see the final scores, and then you have to call someone and say, hey, is that a mistake or is this actually correct? And what I even heard later was that in this contest, Agri Memorial Senior High School were the only school that had Form 3 students as their contestants.
Wow.
So the contestants were Sin State, Jasi, and Fetiman were Form 2 students. Only Agri had Form 3 students, and the Form 3 students could not win the contest. Shocking, isn't it?
It is. In fact, I still can't come to terms with how Agri Memorial would lose to Asin State SHS? Because over the years, their performance not too good, not too bad,
Yeah.
but it has been encouraging.
Yes.
But to
yes,
lose to
yes.
such a school, it means there's something wrong there.
Well, yeah. So I'm sure it will move them to
To
assess
think about it.
what is happening with the team, and then they can bounce back. I mean, it happens to some of the schools every now and then. Once
For
you
example,
lose
Saint-
like this,
Saint Augustine's College, for example.
Once you lose like this, it gives you an opportunity to sit back and reassess your maybe how you train the students, or maybe whatever goes into the preparation, and then they can bounce back as wounded lions.
It even happened to St. Peters.
St. Peters, yeah.
You know, they were beaten
Yeah.
by Bekwai
SDA Bekwai, yeah.
by a 20-point margin.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had to go to the regionals.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they realized that, I mean, we spoke to the teachers, they told us some of the challenges they were having in terms
Yeah.
of what goes into how to prepare the students. So when they went back, then it dawned on the authorities that, look, there's something happening which we need to
Yeah.
look at it. And they looked at it, they came back, won their regional contest, and then won a national championship.
Yeah.
as
So,
well.
so sometimes in your challenges, you can
Yes.
identify your strengths
Exactly.
and work on
Exactly.
your mistakes
Yeah.
and pull up a surprise.
It's happened to many of the schools. I mean, it happened to Presec
Presec, yeah.
when they also went back to regionals. I remember that year they lost to KNUST SHS, and we talked about St. Augustine's. Yeah. So all the schools have experienced some of these things. I'm sure those who even lost last year, like GSTS and co,
They will learn
perhaps
from
at this
their
moment,
lessons.
yes, they've gone back to the drawing board to assess what went wrong, and then they can try to correct their mistakes so they can bounce back. So maybe as an encouragement to the so-called big schools that are still wallowing in the darkness of
They will
regionals,
learn from these.
Infantiman
these
girls and the
experiences.
rest, maybe they should just put their acts together, prepare well, and one day we'll see them again back to their glory days.
Very well. Upper East region, Boku representing the region, and I'm hoping, praying that this year too, they would follow the footsteps of Sandema SHTS to make it past the 1A stage. Stephen, this is your area. This is where you coordinated. I mean, how did it happen? Notre Dame SHS?
Yes, Notre Dame is a big school.
Yes.
I mean, in Upper East region, one of the best schools in the region. Even in terms of their competition, they are a good school, a force to reckon with. I think for some time now they've not really been performing as well as they used to perform in the competition. I remember last year they lost at the prelims. Their scores were not good enough to take them to the 18 highest scoring losing school slots. But we thought that going to the regionals, perhaps they would have done one or two things differently so they could bounce back strongly. But in this contest, in fact, I thought they were going to win. But Boku Senior High Technical School really surprised them. From round one, Notre Dame was struggling. And it continued all the way till the final round. So you see the final score, the scores were not as high, which shows that generally the contest was not keen. So
it was
if
shared
they-
among the participants.
Exactly, because Boku won that contest with 21 points. And the second place was Zamsi Senior High
That's a
Technical
point.
School.
So-
They had 17.
So Notre Dame comes somewhere way
Yes.
fourth position.
Yes, 11 points. For a school like Notre Dame, that was shocking.
It is. And I'm sure Boku SHTS, I mean, which round did you think their strength was? Or was it from the beginning to the end?
Well, in that contest, the schools, no school was dominating in any particular round. Unlike in other regions where you can have a particular school dominating, say, round 2, the speed race. The contest was, for the most part, it was not very exciting.
Okay.
So they would score 1 or 2 points here and there. But Notre Dame was a school that we were all expecting to at least show that, well, they are veterans in this competition. But unfortunately, it was a bad day for them.
But before we wrap up, let me come to you, Patrick, again.
Okay.
Your school, Fafraha Community Day School, will be one of the schools we will be really looking out for at the national level. How well is your preparation going, and what should we look out for?
We are still on putting our maximum effort to make sure we also register our name in the national.
And not only to be participants.
Not only to be spectators, but we have to be citizens. And I also want to let the small schools to also know. See, if the iron be blunt, more effort is needed. And I do tell my boys that for every predictable defeat has a predictable solutions. So you know you are not strong enough, put in more effort put your strategies in place, your game plans, and when you get out there, God will be at your side, surely.
So you heard the quotable quote from one of the team leaders for Fafraha, and it's one of the schools you really need to look out for. We call them the giant slayers. But Samuel, let me come back to you and find out what clear message are these competitions sending to both the lesser known schools and the so-called big schools?
Well, first of all, I'll say that to the so-called big schools, never underrate your opponents, because from what we have observed from the regional level and for which we've seen in the past at the national championship, if you do so, you find yourself in a situation where I don't think you want to wake up the next day. So to the what do you call bigger schools, please never underrate your opponent. And to lesser known or less endowed schools, thumbs up. It's your time to make your name for yourselves. We're looking out for you.
And it's a very good advert for the schools as well. And when you watch social media interactions, these are what followers of the National Science and Maths schools really, really look out for. Should we expect some of the giants, let's say some of the schools that have seeded for this year's competition, also going down to the so-called lesser known schools?
Well, it's possible. Every year we see seeded schools losing their position to some of these schools that come up every now and then. So it's possible. There were schools we did not know of, and then all of a sudden they came. University Practice got onto the stage, and they went on, quarterfinals, semi-final, finals, and all that. So it's possible that we'll see something like that this year. It adds to the excitement of the competition.
Absolutely.
If we have just 2 or 3 schools dominating every year, that is not really that would be like the EPL.
No, the La Liga.
Okay, so
the La Liga would be
yes,
the
the
best. And on that note, we come to the end of today's episode for the NSMQ. Thank you for joining us. Do well to follow us on our various social media platforms on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitter. We are at NSMQ Ghana. Same on Instagram as well. Thank you for joining us, and make sure to make a date with us for the next exciting episode of NSMQ. My name is Emmanuel Jiveno. Have a wonderful day.